Hi everyone, I'm Luis from LuisRevere.com, and here I welcoming you to my new episode on the track by track podcast that I do, or that I like to do, where I take an album and I go uh, talk about the tracks that are in that record. And today, I'm going to be handling one that is a special album for me. Um, and it's the album, and I'm pretty sure that some people might say, why pick that one first out of their discography? But I wanted to talk about it first because it was the first album that I heard from this band. Uh, and I'm talking about the Beatles, and I'm talking about the album Let It Be. Now, Let It Be, I know, I mean, we all know the history behind the album. We all know that it wasn't finished by the band themselves in a way. I mean, I know the history behind it, but for me, I mean, I remember, and I want to, before I go into the tracks, I want to give a little background of why this record has a special place with me. I mean, back in the 80s, 88, 89, I mean, I was huge on heavy metal. I mean, my favorite band, and I still like them, was Guns N' Roses. And that time, you had Appetite. So I was a huge fan of Guitars, Paradise City, of course, other big rock bands, Poison, Metallica, and all those guitar solos. And I want to focus on the guitars because my dad, I think it was my dad. It must have been because he was the one who had the cassette tape, and I might have been driving with him in the car or something. And he put his cassette. Maybe the details are off, but I must have heard it off of him. And I heard the song "Let It Be." Now I didn't understand the lyrics. I did not focus at that time on the words. I just focused on the guitar. And after that, I asked for the tape, and I heard that song over and over and over and over. And I'm gonna go into detail later. Um, so it became a record that I loved. Years later, we went to this little tribute concert for the Beatles, and I fell in love with the whole music, and I rediscovered Let It Be as an album. And I know it's not their best, but it's not their worst either. I mean, I love the songs that are in it. Yes, it feels a little raw and underproduced compared to other records like Abbey Road, but I love the freshness of it. Uh, the songs are the songs are good. Of course, you got the two little throwaways in Maggie May and what is the other one? Dig It, because not the whole version of Dig It is not in there. And I can't wait. Of course, it was the 50th anniversary last year, and we were gonna get the 50th anniversary edition, and we were gonna get the Get Back film by Peter Jackson, and of course, coronavirus changed that, and I can't wait. I think the film is gonna be released in August. There's a book coming out in October, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a box set of the music, and I can't wait because I think this one's gonna have a lot of good songs that are never been heard because of all the rehearsals, the rehearsals that they did, and the songs that they sang in it that were not theirs. So I can't wait for it. And some footage show in YouTube, if you look for other footage not used by Michael Lindsay Hogg, which I think did an awful job with Let It Be. Um, there were good days. So let's go on. I just wanted to give a little background on the album Let It Be. Of course, Let It Be was released in 1970, but it was actually recorded before Abbey Road. So this album maybe could have been recorded at 69, 68, ending maybe. It was an album where the Beatles wanted to get back to the roots. They want to get back to basic rock, basic, not overproduction, which kind of went by the drain with the fact that the album was produced by Phil Spector. Phil Spector added orchestras and other things. Now, Paul famously doesn't like the Phil Spector what he added. I think in songs like "The Long and Winding Road" they work. It's because it made it. I mean, it was a beautiful song the way Paul wanted it, which is with the basic instruments. But I think what Phil did made it a little bit more like a sweet, a melancholic song, and I love it. I love both versions. I like what he did on the album overall. So I mean, I love both versions. The Let It Be Naked version, which is the version that Paul wanted, and I love the Let It Be version as it stands. So the album begins with this little acoustic song called Two of Us. Uh, Paul later on said that he wrote it on a road trip he took with Linda McCartney in the 1969. They went on a road trip, and she said, let's go without a map," and that's where the song kind of was written. He wrote it on that trip, and it's a little acoustic song. I love it. Um, I love the words. I love the music in it. But what I love most is that it's a duo between John and Paul, and their voices together. I love how they sound on this one, and it's John uh, kind of like going kind of a step lower to Paul. I think, of course, Paul is the lead, but they blend together so well. And if you see the videos of the different versions, they are on some versions they are really on the same mic, which was great. But I love the finished version. The finished version where I mean it's a sweet song. It's a and it's made even better by the fact that you got John and Paul singing together uh, in such harmony, and I think that made the song so much better. So that's a it's one of McCartney's great other great songs within the Beatles. Um, okay, so the second track is "Dig a Pony." This one is a John Lennon song, um, and it's basically maybe aimed at Yoko Ono. I don't know. I love the wordplay. I love the lyrics on it. I love how he digs at the Rolling Stones. So um, it's kind of a subliminal little tune. Well, he's aiming it at all I want is you. It might have been aimed at Yoko Ono, but I love the guitar riff on the song. Again, the Beatles and their background vocals. I think Paul singing behind John sounds great. Not this is obviously I can't say that it's among John Lennon's best songs, but I love it. I love the song. I think it's a good rock and roll little track, and the band plays it, just well. And I mean, the lyrics are great, and it's a good John Lennon rock and roll little song, and you know, um, exactly. Okay, so now let's go to the third track. Now this is a special track for me. It's Across the Universe. Um, it is absolutely among my top 10, top three favorite Beatles songs. I mean, I just love the lyrics. I've always felt. I mean, there were times in my life when things were not going well, and I remember singing that song endlessly, and I was singing it out of hope because I always wanted to reach that point where I could say that nothing's going to change my world. I was singing it knowing that my world wasn't as I wanted it to be, but I think John maybe wrote it on that sense because he wrote it after a fight or or a tough situation with Cynthia, and the words are so hopeful. I mean, it's subliminal, it's symbolic. It's not as literal as other songs John then wrote, but I think it's just so beautiful in the melody. And there are many versions of it. I love the Let It Be version, and I love the Wildlife version, mainly because of Paul's background vocals. But I love the version of Let It Be. It's kind of slowed down, has a nice feeling to it. I think this one, John always felt they could have worked on it a little bit better. I kind of agree. But I love the versions that we have, and it's among John Lennon's best Beatles songs. Uh, I love the verses. I love the simple chorus, and I love the melody. The melody is so beautiful; it just haunts you. I mean, it haunts me. I mean, I just love that song. Um, it would be amazing if John was still here and if he ever decided to tour like Paul, to hear John sing that one on an acoustic set would be amazing. So next we get the first George Harrison track on Let It Be, which is "I'm in Mine," which is a song maybe reflecting the egos in the band. Maybe that's just me speculating because it's a song about egos, about me. You know, it's saying basically that I mean, I, me, mine. Everything, like as is, everything revolves around me. It's a cool little rock and roll song. Um, I always remember um, when they showed that song on Let It Be. You got John dancing with Yoko Ono around the Beatles as they play that song. But it's a cool little rock and roll song. Of course, what Phil Spector did was repeat the last section to make the song longer, which I think it's okay. I think it works, and I think it's a good song. I mean, George well, at this time was really writing good songs. So that's one good one. So dig it is the kind of what I was talking about earlier, like a throwaway, because it's a segment of a song that John was improvising, I think, on the recording session, and we get like a 1 minute kind of like. mm, I think it was better not to include it, if you ask me, along with Maggie May, and maybe include two other songs or not include them. Um, and then after Dig It, we get Let It Be. Now this is the song that I was talking about that I heard that I love the guitar work on it, and I love the fact that Phil Spector produced this record because I don't think Paul would have kept what I love most about that version, and it's George replying at the end with his guitar. I think it worked perfectly. I think George, I mean, the song is beautiful, the lyrics are beautiful. Paul's voice, Paul's performance, the Beatles' performance on this, the song is so moving. But what gave it that extra thing for me has always been George's guitar. From this version, so all the solos that there are versions out there, but on the album version is a little bit heavier, and by the end where he's answering with guitar licks to Paul's singing the chorus, it just gives you. I think it just hits you harder than the other versions where the guitar is toned lower and you just get the background voice, singing. Um, so I'm glad that Phil Spector worked on this one because knowing Paul, I think he would have eliminated it and we would have been robbed of a great work by George on this album's version. Now the song is beautiful. To this day, I still listen to it, and it's a moving song, I think. And it's a song of hope, and those songs never fade away. Then we go on the other side, and we get a great rock and roll song, and I've got a feeling, and it's a a rare thing by this time because it's a John Lennon and Paul McCartney collaboration. Even if there were two separate songs that they blended, it's still a true Lennon McCartney song. I like the song a lot. It's a good rock and roll song with kind of heavier on the Paul part, and then kind of like a little bit poppier with in the Lennon part. But like I said, the opposites of their opposites just blend so perfect. The one after 909, that's an interesting choice for the Beatles to include. This is a song they recorded. Actually, there's a version of the Beatles anthology recorded of the song maybe in the Please Me sessions or the first album sessions, and they never completed it. And it's a cool little rock and roll song. The lyrics nothing deep, just fun, and it feels like that on the performance on the album because it feels like they were having fun while recording it. So after the one after 909, we get Long and Winding Road, which was the last Beatles song to hit number one. It's a beautiful ballad. I mean, Paul is really talented in writing this kind of songs. The lyrics are really beautiful, and the music too. And this is where I differ with Paul. I know where he stands because of what the Beatles wanted to do, but I love the arrangement that Phil Spector did with the song. Even though I love the other version where it's instruments and I think the solo was kind of a keyboard by Billy Preston. I like both versions, but I think I like this one better. I like the arrangement. The orchestra just adds a little bit drama to the song and gives it a little bit of an extra edge, in my opinion. I think it's one of Paul's best love songs. It's a beautiful song. I mean, I love it. And then we get, after Long and Winding Road, we get For You Blue. Now, this is an amazing band track. The band was really hitting all clicks on this George Harrison original. I mean, John Lennon playing the slide, I think. Ringo's drumming, Paul's bass, George singing with the acoustic guitar. It's a beautiful band performance of a cool little song. I mean, for you, it's a nothing serious song, but it's a great fun track. It's a fun track. And the album ends with the Beatles' number one hit, Get Back. This one feels more like a little live-year version of the one that is released as a single. But what can you say? It's a great Beatles number one track. It's a great song, written by Paul. And that's the album. This is the album Let It Be. And this was kind of a brief look at it track by track. Obviously, the Beatles are my favorite band, so I'll be taking other albums and do the same, except the White Album, because of the White Album. If you go to my YouTube channel, there is a ranking of the songs. So basically, it serves as the same thing, going track by track. So I'm not gonna go through that again, but I might for other Beatle records. But I don't know. I saw this video today of this guy reacting to Let It Be, and it just got me reminding me of this great album, and I just wanted to do the track by track of it. And that's just it. It's gonna be Let It Be by the Beatles, my favorite band, and this one I ranked it kind of in my top five of their best albums. Um, we all got our own top, you know, not and for me, I mean, Let It Be just has always been an album I always enjoy. So anyway, I want to thank you for listening, and I hope everything is all right. And see you on the next, and hear you or talk to you on the next one.